I went through a dark time in my life 2 years ago, and a lot of feelings that I'd suppressed, quite frankly, from over the years. Because in our industry, it is next town, next show, next town, next show, next town, next show, and so in one essence, a lot of that was stuffed down into me, if you will.
Just talking specifically about Hall of Fame, how did you feel when that happened? Was it expected? Did you watch other talents go in year on year and think, when is it going to be my turn?
You know what? I can honestly say that it was without question a shocker. I would have never dreamed. I didn't think that was really in the cards, if you will. Not out of any other reason that I just didn't think that was going to be a part of my future on any level. And so that was shocking in and of itself. And yes, over the years, I've always been in this industry. So I watch everything, no matter what organization, Japan, Mexico, and all that. But when Hall of Fame season rolled around every year, I never didn't pay the real specific close attention to it, not because I didn't really want to, is because I was watching their content. I was watching Raw, I was watching SmackDown, I was watching the organization. So the Hall of Fame was obviously a look in the rearview mirror, and I've done many podcasts over the years. I've always said about myself, I'm not much of a guy that looks in the rearview mirror. I keep moving forward. But to get that call and to really let it digest in, and all the things and the timing of it, the date, I've done interviews, but the April 6th of 2018 was 32 years to the day of my first match. So April 6th of 86
wow.
And April 6th of 2018, 32 years to the day. I kind of had that feeling, and I don't believe in coincidences, only convergences. And it was another thing in my brain that ticked the box, and I'm going, "Wow, what an incredible blessing!"
Yeah, that's amazing.
So it was really cool, and Road Dogg, inducting me was really cool. Edge and Christian, who were a part of, I worked with those guys. Early in their career at WWF, and then later Christian quite a bit. Me and Adam have always been buddies, but they were in the last match of Owen Hart in Chicago the night before he passed. So for me to get the opportunity to tip my cap, my red nose, if you will, to Owen as a part of things, and Brian, and we got to sing the song and had a fun. It was a terrible performance, but it was a lot of fun. It was a very, very special night.
That's awesome. I want to ask you about Owen, if you don't mind. It was heartbreaking seeing you and Deborah trying to get through that backstage segment after the accident happened. We obviously don't need to go into what happened that night, but nearly 21 years later now, what do you think of when you think of Owen?
Wow. I went through a dark time in my life 2 years ago, and a lot of feelings that I'd suppressed, quite frankly, from over the years. Because in our industry, it is next town, next show, next town, next show, next town, next show, and so in one essence, a lot of that was stuffed down into me, if you will. I did a podcast with Sam Roberts, and there were some emotions that came out that day when I did it that I was like, wow, it was deep. But Owen, everybody knew his personality, and everybody absolutely knew the practical joker side, if you will, and then his in-ring talent is, he was fantastic. But what I got blessed, and one of my best friends in this business, but to see him, walk in a fast food restaurant, get gas in a rent-a-car, deal with people at the rent-a-car counter, at hotels, just day-to-day life, in airports, the genuine integrity that he had. He was a family man. Man, just when I think about Owen, he left his house, and when he was if he would have got the opportunity to go back home, he was moving into his dream home. He had at that time he had saved his money and invested well and was doing great, and wife and 2 kids, and they'd built their dream home, and he didn't get that opportunity. And so, the same thing. Our careers had paralleled so much. His father was a wrestling promoter. My father was a wrestling promoter. But for me to get the opportunity to travel with him and really know the human being, the father, the husband, the friend, the Owen Hart that would see strangers on the street, just what a good he was a different guy, and I just wish the whole world could have really known the human being, because they don't make them. I've never met a human being like Owen Hart ever.
Do you keep in touch with his family, and do you think we'll ever see him in the Hall of Fame?
That's a 2-part question. Over the years, Martha has always sent my girls. The last couple of years, they're not little girls anymore, but always was great. We would swap Christmas cards, and so we stayed in touch, not daily, but casually. And Martha's sister back in Calgary, but over the years as time went on, and then they grew up, but the documentary that they're doing on Owen, I was over here 2 years ago, and I believe I was the first one that did. We did about a 2-hour audio session talking about Owen, and so the Hall of Fame question is obviously not my decision, and I think it goes without saying what my belief would be, but also I respect all sides of it. Until you've walked in someone's shoes and lost a family member or lost a spouse, and I can't relate. I can relate to losing a spouse. I can't relate to losing a spouse under those circumstances. Again, it's an individual decision, and I'm not here to judge anyone.